And welcome into another episode of Devil Dash. I'm Wills, joined here by Josh. And Josh, just when we thought things were turning around, just like that, they're not. A 3-game winning streak followed up by a 2-game losing streak, and not really just a losing streak, really 3/4 of utter failure from the Sun Devils. They looked pretty good against Colorado, and then really just ran out of steam in that second half, and then pretty much all against Utah. I think they lost by 39 against Utah, maybe 16 against Colorado. So not really how the Sun Devils wanted to end the regular season. But the good news is there's at least one more game. Josh, tell me what you saw from the Sun Devils in the last 2 games.
Yeah, well, obviously, we were going to have a challenge going into Colorado and playing, that team on senior night.
We always struggle with them. I don't know why.
Well, hey, I'm telling you, man, our kryptonite is McKinley Wright. And, he scored 17 of his 24 points in the second half. They were up by 1 at halftime, and he just came in and laid it down. He's the truth. That's his home court. That's the last time he's going to play there, and he went out on top, rightfully so. I mean, Colorado's a great program this year. Yeah, they're not an ASU, that's for sure.
That was one of those games, though. Even when it was close in the first half, I felt as if ASU was working really hard for their buckets, doing what making the best plays possible to score. Where Colorado would set one screen and then get an open layup, or find one man who's wide open and they're just hitting open shots. Where ASU was working really hard for their offense, and then we saw that in the second half, and then saw it all culminate together against Utah, where just nothing was going for them. I want to say, Remy scored 6 points that game against Utah, and it was just a game where I think it was their 5th game in the last 10 days before that, because they started on Monday or Tuesday of the week before against Washington, played Washington twice. I guess they never ended up playing Washington State.
One of them got canceled.
4 games in 10 days, but so really a normal schedule. But.
And of course, let it be known that Washington State game was, I'm pretty sure it was a noon game on a weekday, and when are we ever blessed with a game like that at this time of the year, man? I was so ready for it, and then nope, COVID canceled it.
So Washington State did get canceled, but the good news is we get to see them again. First game of the 8-9 Pac-12 tournament seeding. It's a little bit different this year, is because normally the top 4 teams get a bye, and then 5 through 12 play each other. But this year, of course, our friends down south, Arizona, has what's the word? Not allowed themselves. They've self-imposed a ban for Pac-12 tournament and NCAA tournament play, and they probably would have been in the field this year. They probably would have made the tournament. So it's good to see them fall short on a year that Sean Miller he's probably gone soon. Probably not going to get a contract extension. So things have been bad this season, but at least we're still playing basketball. They could always be worse.
Things have been bad for U of A too recently. I've been getting a couple notifications from ESPN and CBS that the FBI is getting on to them about not releasing some information about
So we were
something to do with that FBI.
We were just talking about this before the show. I don't want to speak too much on it because I don't know a whole lot of facts. I don't want to speak out of turn and upset anyone that could be listening out there, but. I know on Friday, ESPN sued actually U of A for defaming their name and saying that ESPN was the one that messed everything up. When in reality, ESPN knew it was going on all along, but couldn't talk about it because of the lawsuit going on. So ESPN sued U of A to release all the information, and then U of A, I believe, did already or has to very soon upcoming. So there's a whole lot of stuff coming down, and that's why Sean Miller, who has done great with that program, has another great recruiting class next year. They still haven't re-signed him. He's got 1 year left. Next year is going to be his last year, and I'd be very surprised if they did re-sign him because not only does he have all this weighing on his back, but he also hasn't taken him to a Final Four since he's been there. And whether it's right or not, those are the expectations for U of A. So I would be very surprised if we see Sean Miller pass next year. But got off on a little tangent there.
Hey, it's all
Washington
right.
State. We get to play. U of A doesn't. Washington State, Josh, we were supposed to play them last week. What do you think for this opponent in the first round?
I think they're good middle of the run Pac-12 team that we can get our feet wet in this Pac-12 tournament. I'm almost positive right now that the big game that we're looking towards is the second game if we beat Washington State, which is Oregon. And, last time we played them well, but we ended up losing by around 11 or 10 points. And I think, our boys are going to be ready for a little rematch game. I think we have the talent to beat Washington State, minus the last game. But other than that, Remy's been playing very well. He was leading the Pac-12 for a span of 8 games, leading and scoring and averaging 22, 21 and a half points, playing out of his mind basketball.
He was the only one averaging 20 at one point in the conference for, I want to say, at least halfway through the regular. Only one averaging 20, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and we'll give him that little funky game, against Utah, and I don't care about that. The good thing is we're not in a position of seeding to be majorly affected by a 39 point loss to Utah. So.
Well, the thing for me is, I actually got a Snapchat memory 4 years ago today. It was U of A Colorado, and I remember the first round at ASU. I want to say was either a 5 or 6 seed, a higher seed in the tournament, and they were playing Colorado first round of the tournament. And it was supposed to be an easy win, and I believe it was the year before DeAndre Ayton. It was either DeAndre Ayton's freshman year or the year before Ayton with Alonzo Trier was still there. But all ASU had to do was beat Colorado, and they set up a big date in the second round with University of Arizona. And I actually had tickets for the second round, assuming ASU was going to win. And I think ASU went out and played as if they were just like, oh, we have this one wrapped up, we won. And Colorado smoked them, I want to say, by 15 to 20 points. And it wasn't even close. And then I went out to Vegas and saw a U of Arizona Colorado basketball game. So it was a lot of fun. But, ASU, we're going to talk about it later, but this one game is not one to overlook. I mean, they played Washington State, did they play this year already?
Yes.
Yeah, they won, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I'm slipping from you. But, it's an opponent you can beat. And, the one guy I would say you don't really want to see is Colorado. Colorado's the team that you matched up against, history-wise, have not matched up well, in the tournament or, just playing them early as their coach. I don't know if we have a win since McKinley Wright and Bobby Hurley have been, playing and coaching against each other. So, that's a team. USC, we know we can play tough against at least. UCLA, we know we can beat. Oregon, I think they can definitely beat. But I think Colorado, to see them on the bottom side of the bracket with USC is definitely a good thing. And then, but just Washington State, what does Washington State offer? What do you think ASU needs to do to beat a Washington State team like this? I don't want to pick your Washington State basketball knowledge.
Thank you for that, taking mercy on me. But, I think the main thing, we've touched on this a lot in this, series of ASU basketball recaps and talks. We got in the Colorado game, we got out-rebounded, 44-28, and we saw how that game, ended up. And at the end of the day, if I'm a other opposing coach or team looking at how we're gonna beat this, because we are a very talented roster of this ASU team, that is the steady formula that has been working against us all year long. And I'm not trying to take away from the play that Jalen Graham and Kamani Lawrence, big boom in Kamani Lawrence has had recently, but that's the working method against us. And if I'm an opposing coach, I'm going to do just that, and I'm going to keep applying that pressure in the paint because we don't know how to, defend it consistently across 2 halves of play. And, I think if we want to make a big difference in this tournament, really turn our entire season around and, salvage what little we have left, I think, during this Pac-12 tournament, we're going to have to really play our hearts out in the paint and contest each and every, shot and work them. I mean, that's been the main struggle this year, or we're going to have to pick up our shooting and just go out of our minds. But, I'm kind of leaning either way. I don't really see which advantage we have.
Yeah, and I remember looking into this. I just kind of pulled it up again. So ASU against Washington State. This was actually the game before. This was last Saturday, so a week before. The game before Colorado. ASU only played 7 guys that game, and one of them was Chris Austin, who played for 12 minutes, recorded 2 points and 1 rebound. So they really went 6 deep that entire game. That was the 3rd game in a week with 2 against Washington, and then we saw them run out of gas. I think I'm trying to find out if Christopher and Bagley what their status is. We saw Bagley play in one game, but then not against Utah. So that's going to be something interesting. I don't think he played if he did, he was not noticeable on the court. Yeah, 0 minutes. So, I don't know why. That's a little bit, maybe he's out of shape, hopefully out of shape. But, I mean, without Christopher and Bagley, I think they can still beat Washington State. that might be it right there.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, when you look at it, that's the most obvious, choice you have to make. I mean, even I'm not sure if we had Christopher or Bagley for the Oregon game on the 11th, but
I don't think we had either of them.
But just given the nature of, I'm not really educated on how their injuries are, but given the nature of how they've, Bagley's sending out texts or sending out tweets 10 hours before the game, wishing them good luck. It just doesn't seem like they're, all into it right now.
It's
I'm
funny.
not sure.
I'm just trying to find interesting or stuff on Christopher and Bagley, and I just keyword search Christopher on Twitter, and everything that comes up about is, wow, Christopher really chose this ASU team over this Michigan team. And that's something funny to think about. That this Michigan team, wow. His other choice was ASU and Michigan. But it's a good transition. We've already kind of jumped into it. But Pac-12 tournament. Give me just right off the bat a prediction. Who do you think is going to win it all? The Pac-12 tournament this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with either Oregon or USC. I think that could very well be the championship game. Yeah. Don't come at me for these wild thoughts here, but I mean, they've been the best team all season. I see both of them have been competing, and Oregon's finally healthy. The Mobley brothers are just unstoppable, and just shout out to our boy Austin Grad at Sports Illustrated USC. He's always keeping me informed on everything I need to know about USC basketball. Just really great content. But I don't know. What about you? Do you think? I mean, obviously,
if I had to pick right now, I would pick Colorado. I think.
They have been playing the best basketball.
I mean, USC is obviously great, but I mean, great comeback against UCLA. But I mean, they realistically should have lost that game. It was a fantastic shot. Easily. By the way, I don't care who wins. I know for football, I don't like USC. With basketball, I don't care at USC or UCLA. That easily could have been a 5-second call. If you watch that under the hoop, that ref stops on 4 and stands there for a hot second. Maybe we can try to get Sam or someone from Dash to post that clip. But it was very close. I think USC. I don't even think ended up winning the Pac-12. I think Oregon ended up winning it anyway.
Yeah, they did.
The game really was inconsequential, and USC ended up actually drawing Oregon's side anyways. Where USC got Colorado's side, and Oregon is with UCLA. Sorry, wow,
correct.
Brain fart right there, but. A run for this team, I think, is not out of the picture. I think the thing you worry about is what we just saw against Colorado and Utah, though, is this team running out of gas. And like I said, without Bagley and Christopher, I think you really end at that first game. You can beat Washington State maybe without them, but you're not going to beat an Oregon on a back-to-back day where they're fresh and you don't have two of your best players. It's probably just not going to happen.
No, I agree. And, if any team is truly getting affected by, the rescheduling of these final games, a bunch of COVID cancellations throughout the season, and then having to play a first round bye team the next day. Actually, the first game Arizona State plays on a Wednesday, and then if they win, they have to play Oregon the very next day. So when you think about that, think about Oregon coming off rest, ASU already very low in the tank, and then just having to play another back-to-back tough games. And this is just, it doesn't look likely, but this is the part of the year where you truly find out the integrity of your team, how hard they're willing to fight and battle. And man, it's March, Wills. Let's not forget that, baby. It's March.
It's exciting. I mean, it's just going to be weird, like this team, before the year, we didn't really think about them. In the past, these past 3 years in a row, they've been bubble teams. And you're like, all right, this year, we're definitely not going to be on the bubble. It's just a question of how far can this team go. I want to say I predicted this team to make a Sweet 16 run, maybe even I said into the second weekend, which is, at least a Sweet 16 run. So, this team not only did they not meet expectations, but they really failed to, even come close, which I think football did a decent job of, kind of recuperating their season, even with that one game, against U of A. Sorry,
right.
But let's say ASU goes out, beats Washington State, and beats Oregon, and then loses in the semifinals. I would say, what, they really, they tried to go for it all. They couldn't pull out 3 games in 3 days. But I want them to go out and just kind of show that potential at least once. If they don't make the tournament, go show me a complete 40 minutes against Washington State. Show me a complete 40 minutes against Oregon, and show me what you guys have been working on to become this full season. Because, we saw, I guess, a 3-game stretch against the three Washington games, but those are some of the worst teams in the Pac-12. So what does that really show?
Yeah. And, just realistically, you just go back and look at how this Bobby Hurley coach team has played in the, Pac-12 tournament. And we've been gracefully saved by, our regular season all those years by how well we've played, the winning streaks that we've gone on. And we don't have that this year. Our back's against the wall. This is our only shot. It's going to be just interesting to see, is Bobby Hurley going to coach his team different? How is Remy going to play? And then, we still have two of the biggest questions in the air. Josh Christopher and Marcus Bagley, are they going to play? They have been absent from this team for probably close to a month now.
Yeah.
Hopefully if they do come back, they are 100, maybe not 100%, but very close, charged up and ready to shock the Pac-12. This team can do it, and those guys are going to be a key part.
Yeah,
hopefully they come back and, let the world know.
That's the thing is, if they were to make a run, I really don't want to. I know I'm going to because I seem to do it every week, but
me too.
I'm going to put a lot of the onus on Remy Martin here because, he's done so much, and not that he has anything left to prove, but, what we saw against Utah just coming out flat, it's like you wanted to play these games. You begged and you begged. We saw the football players beg to play college football and beg to play college basketball. You play your 5th game in 10 days, I don't want to hear that you ran out of gas. It's hard because all you guys wanted to do was play basketball. You get an arriving, I guess Kamani Lawrence. You get the rising play of, Jalen Graham, of House. You're getting a lot of energy from a lot of good players. And Remy Martin falls short. I really don't want to put it on him because the fatigue was a huge part, and it's not like he's the reason they lost both of those games. But you want to see a little more leadership, a little more giddy up from Bobby Hurley, from Remy, because this is a young team. Jalen Graham is one of the returners. Him and Kamani Lawrence are technically leaders on this team, and it's like you don't really expect those guys to step up and take leadership roles. So the only two that you really expect that from is Remy Martin and Bobby Hurley. And I know we do have higher expectations for them than a lot of other players. Maybe unfair, but there's a reason that we have them is because they've showed us that they can do that in the past.
Yeah, and honestly, to counter that Kamani point, whatever situation he's being thrown into right now, he's thriving in. I'm not sure. I can look at how he did against Utah.
Well, I have it. His last Washington State game, which was 3 games ago, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists against Utah.
He had 3 points.
He had 3
in
points
31 minutes.
31 minutes.
I think
had 8.
I know. I think we can kind of test that Utah game, though, to how, deflating that Colorado loss
like
was.
Like I just said, you can't use tired as an excuse.
I know, but what are you truly going to get out of a win at Utah besides, a little confidence
momentum.
boost?
You're going to need to win 4 straight. Like the thing that I'm trying to wrap my head around is, Bobby Hurley on the radio after the game said, I remember in 19 whatever year it was, when I played for Duke, we played in the ACC championship and we lost by 30 to Virginia Tech. And he's like, you know what we did that year? We went out and won 6 straight and I got a ring on my finger. He's like, I promise you these losses don't matter. But the thing is he used the excuse, my guys ran out of gas, they're tired. It's like, yeah, okay, I bite. I'm going to bite on that. Yeah, I believe that. But how the hell do you want me to believe you're going to win 4 games in 4 days then in Vegas? Like, if you can't play 5 games in 10 days, how are you going to compete with the best teams in the Pac-12 with the stakes on the line for 4 consecutive days? You can't throw a party and just pout in the corner the entire time. It's the prospect of the idea is great. They were tired. They lost by 40. No, they got their butts kicked for 40 minutes. That's what happened. And I'm kind of tired of these excuses this year. We talked about whether COVID is an excuse or kind of just a fallback. And I'm tired of these excuses of, we were tired and Remy didn't have his best game, but it's understandable. Like 6 points, that's unacceptable from one of the best point guards in the country. I'm not comparing him to a Luka Garza who scores inside or let's say Gillespie who actually just got injured, Connor Gillespie from Villanova.
Right.
I would be willing to bet he has had over 6 points every game this season. every game. And I'm only saying that because he's one of the top point guards in the country that comes to mind. What about Cade Cunningham? It's not like Remy is not a defense first point guard. He's fantastic at defense, but he likes to score. Sorry, I went on a little rant there, but
you're fine.
You know what I'm saying? These excuses from ASU football, basketball, they seem to come out of everywhere.
I agree. I mean, especially considering, the stretch that Remy went on, 8 games before that, he was giving it his all. And, it's really interesting. He only took 2 3-point shots in that Utah game.
By the way, he had 6 points against Colorado. So in 53 minutes in the 2 Utah games, he scored a combined 14 points and shot 4 for 16 from the field. So he shot 25% for 14 points.
Yeah, and look what happened. We lost both games. That just speaks volumes to how reliant we are on his energy and his scoring.
Interesting enough, when we did play Villanova at the beginning of the year, one of Remy's probably worst game of the year, he scored 5 points. So, there's a lot of trends. I'm just going through Remy's box score. UTEP, that was probably ASU's worst loss of the year. He scored 9 points. I'm just trying to find SDSU, another good team. Remy scores 9 points. ASU lost. Some Oregon State 14, which is still a good game, but it's one of his lower ones of the year. ASU loses. I'm not saying that when he scores well, they win. When he doesn't score well, they lose. But
that's what it shows.
You can kind of see a little bit of a path here where when your senior leader doesn't play well, you lose because he's scored under 10 points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times this year, and they have won. There's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. They're 0-5 when he scores under 10 points. And it's not that it's Remy's fault, but when you have a team struggling like this, he needs to take more of the onus. I don't care. When you're down 40 points, Remy, I want you taking more than 7 shots. 3 for 7, is that acceptable when you're down 40? Absolutely not.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just a testament to how reactive and how fire spreading his energy is for his team and how electric he can be.
He's literally the light switch. When he's not switched on, this entire team's dead. But I
think Verge can attribute that too. When Remy starts cooking, every time Verge starts busting out the nastiest mid-range shots and makes it look easy.
I think this weekend was the worst I have seen those two play combined. I thought Verge was forced, almost like he was playing 1-on-5 where he was playing with, a bunch of 7th graders, but he was going to try to drop 50. That's what it felt like. And not necessarily that's his fault because we were getting our butts kicked from the opening tip-off. So that's kind of the way the game went for ASU. But, we've been talking about Remy. This is a good transition. Who is coming back next year? We talked about last week, Remy said after he hit that buzzer beater against Washington State, he said, I might want to come back because ASU has treated me so well. So, Josh, I'm going to give you 3 names, and I want you to tell me they're back or gone next year. Remy Martin, Josh Christopher, and Marcus Bagley. Give me those 3 and tell me where do you think they end up next year.
All right, let me go. Can I go to my room and get my crystal ball prediction real fast?
Yes, go for it.
This is tough to predict. I mean, put yourself in Josh Christopher's shoes. Are you going to leave Arizona State and NCAA, go collect your check and go ball out and forget this? Or are you going to take that free year of eligibility that he gets, that every player gets, and run it back? I mean, do you think he's going to talk to Remy? Do you think he's going to talk to Bagley? I'm not sure. But, if I had to guess, I would say, Christopher. I would say Christopher's a one and done. I mean, that's his true potential. I think he kind of knows it. I think realistically, when you look at this past month and how he's acted around this team, how his injury has just kept him away from everything game related. I think he's kind of just showing that he's ready to go to the NBA. He's ready to shine. He's gonna be great. I know he is. I'm not sure.
While you're on, are you about to move names? I'm going to play.
I was about to move names.
All right, sorry. So while you just brought up that, I'm going to play, devil's advocate. I agree with you. I think he's one and done. But we've seen his name slipping in a lot of draft boards. A lot. Sometimes these players love college. They for example, Remy Martin. They love college and they love the environment and they want to play in front of these fans. So for a guy that got 1 year, He was hurt for almost the entire year, and he was projected to go top 15, maybe even top 10 if he had a good year. He's now projected 30th, maybe even dipping into the second round now. That guaranteed money isn't going to be there, and his college experience was cut short. So I would not be surprised at all if Josh Christopher came back for another year. That being said, not everyone plays basketball for the money. Some people do it because they love playing basketball. I know Kobe is a big inspiration to him. He tweets about Kobe all the time. Some people just have dreams of playing in the NBA and see.
I agree.
If you're a big fan of Kobe, you can see yourself playing in the Staples Center court, even if it's for 5 minutes a game. You're living out your dream as a rookie. So if you can do that at 19 years old, then more power to you. But I think we both are in agreement. He's a one and done. But I would put him in a big question mark, saying, how does he play for the rest of the season, and what does his combine look like where he can, shoot himself up the draft board? So, that's a question mark, but I think we both say one and done. All right, next name.
Hold on, let's go back to Josh Christopher because I have another question.
Yeah.
If you know the protocol for, the extra year of eligibility, can he go to can he transfer essentially? Or does he have to come back to Arizona State?
So the eligibility is weird. Like Remy gets that COVID eligibility. Josh Christopher is only in his first year, so it's not like he's cashing in on a COVID rule. He has three more years of eligibility. Where Remy has used.
So he doesn't get a free one though. So he's a 4 year. Like nothing that doesn't affect him is what you're saying
for the draft.
Right.
No. Yeah. So what it is, it's really weird. NBA is. It's not like you have to play 1 year in college because, like Luka, for example, he played professionally. Right. What the rule is like it has to be 1 year past your high school graduation or 18th birthday. So I think you have to be 19 years old because they don't want like young or like kids in there. And I think for college football, it's 3 years after your 18th birthday. So I think you can only enter when you're 21 because of things that go on in the locker room and things that are said. So it's a weird dynamic, and in the NHL, it's really weird. You can only be drafted if you're like 17 to 18 or 19 years old. If you it's weird, but okay, we're gonna have to fire through. We're almost out of time. 3 minutes left. Remy Martin, give me
Remy.
Staying or going?
I might take a rain check. I don't even want to. No comment.
I'm gonna say stay because he tested him and Verge tested the waters last year of the draft. My guess is no one wanted them. They said, if Lou Dort didn't get drafted, do you think Remy Martin's going to get drafted?
Yeah.
Heck no. No. I think Remy comes back for another year. Why not? If you're going to go undrafted and be, kind of like a Fred VanVleet type point guard, which is, I think, what Remy wants to be in his mind, a scoring, just hardworking defensive guy. You can do that undrafted. You can play another year of college and try to win a Pac-12 championship. Marcus Bagley, what do you think?
I say Marcus Bagley goes to the draft. I say his brother's in the NBA and he wants to get there with him.
We're on the same page here. He is absolutely gone. He's projected about the top 15 right now, and he's been jumping. I wouldn't be surprised if people looked at his tape, saw how athletic he was, how smooth his jump shot is, and the way he can play rebound the ball. I would not be surprised to see him taken in the top 10, right around that 10 range. So, all right, Josh, we're almost out of time here. I need a prediction from you. Assuming this roster is fully healthy, what round does ASU make it to and win/lose in?
Let me take a look at my bracket here, and man, it's tough. I mean, I gotta say, I'm going for a middle of the line pick here. This is gonna be the best odds that probability that it could happen, and I'm gonna say. They don't make it past the third round, I just got to look at how Bobby Hurley has coached this team in the past in the Pac-12. There's always seems to be, a UCLA, a Colorado, or Oregon clutch shot from, the first two guys that come into my mind are Pritchard and McKinley Wright that keep us from, advancing to the next round. And looking at the odds here, thanks for pulling them up.
We have the fifth best odds. This is my first time seeing these. I'm really shocked by this, actually. I'm really shocked. I'll read them in order really quick.
And you can just credit, we're the best team out of any other ones on there, but that's just a tribute to our the talent on our team.
It's sad, though, that we have this talent. Vegas recognizes that talent. Was anyone going to put, I don't know. I'll read these really quickly. USC's at plus 185, Colorado and Oregon at plus 250, UCLA at plus 350, and then Stanford and ASU both at plus 2,000. So the jump off between 4 and 5 is pretty massive. But all right, tell me, what you think? Second round loss to Oregon?
Yeah, I mean, and if we do that, I don't think we have it in the gas for a UCLA victory. You know, we left a bad taste in those guys' mouth last time we played them.
I think we beat Oregon. I think we shocked the world. Showed like I said, ASU loves to beat the good teams and lose to the bad teams.
Agreed.
I think we're going to beat Oregon, kind of show the world what this team's made of, and then lose to UCLA and have a heartbreaking loss as Arizona sports love to do. That is all we have. We will know the fate of this ASU team next week. Wednesday morning, I believe they might be the first or second game of the day. But
deep breath.
I think they're the first. Check them out. Hopefully, we were talking to you with a bracket next week of Arizona State in it. We will see. For Josh and Wills, we thank you for watching. Make sure to check out Dash Sports on all social media. That's at dash.tv. At Dash Sports or www.dashsports.tv online. Make sure to check us out. You can follow us on Twitter, keep up with ASU news as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.